This is the plaintiff, Daniel Malbert. He says he was hired by the defendant to help design websites, and he received only 2/3 of the money he was promised. The defendant has no right stiffing him on this money that he's earned, and he's here in the name of justice, seeking the $2,400 he's still owed. This is the defendant, Maksud Agajani. He says he took this down-and-out old friend in, gave him free housing and helped him get on his feet. He even gave him a letter stating he was going to be working for him so he could show it to landlords as proof of income so he could rent his own place. Bottom line, he was very generous to this guy who, as it turns out, is a nasty person who he now wants nothing to do with and who is owed absolutely nothing. He's accused of going back on his word.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Malbert, you are suing Mr. Agajani and his company, Trax New York City, for $2,400 that you say is owed to you and they have not paid. Can you tell me what's going on?
Correct. I've known the client for some years, or the defendant. He was a client of mine. I developed a website for him along with other collaterals for his company. I say ending of June last year, I had rock bottom, came back from Cuba, and was no longer employed at the company that I was working with. The defendant offered me housing and a situation where I would work on a big project for him for $10,000 if I stayed in the state of New York. Honestly, at that point, I was willing to go back home.
Where's home?
Boston. I'm from Boston. And start all over from scratch. The only reason why I stayed was because I was offered.
What is it you do?
I'm an interactive designer. I design websites, CD covers, mixtape covers for entertainment, posters, jewelry.
So when you say he offered you housing, the housing was where? Like what?
It was in his residential apartment.
In his home?
Correct.
So you were living together?
Correct.
Okay, and how long were you living there?
For, I say, about 5 months.
And then where did you go?
I moved to my own residence.
When did you move into the apartment? Or the house? Is it a house?
June.
Is it a house?
An apartment?
End of June.
Two-bedroom apartment in Queens.
Okay, and were you living there too?
Yes.
Okay, so you moved in June?
Correct.
And when did you move out?
December.
Okay,
Ending
and then
of
did you
December.
keep working with him after December?
No, I was literally trying to find more employment and working with other clients at that point.
Okay, so when did you stop working for him?
Abruptly,
Was it before or after you moved out?
It was before I moved out, because abruptly we got in a confrontation. He asked me to do some research for marketing. I then gave him an idea. He then took it and implemented the idea without compensating me or acknowledging that it was my idea. It was an abrupt, ugly argument. And literally, like, I didn't want to do free work anymore.
All right, so you end up, though, but you're suing here today for app design.
Correct.
Can you share the name of it?
It was just at this point, there wasn't even name for it.
Okay.
It was an app for his company to entertain his consumer, give him the education that he was providing, the content with the videos that he was providing. It was going to update on its own, have music and everything, just an entertainment app as you would, like, be on a train or anything.
How far did you get on that?
It was complete.
Okay. According to you, you were supposed to be paid 3 payments of $1,650?
Correct.
And you were paid 2, but not the third?
To be honest with you, it was a $10,000 agreement. I was paid $5,000 up front, and then the rest of the remaining was supposed to be split up into 3 parts.
Okay.
So I got 2 of the 3 parts, and then another argument came, and then...
So you're missing, according to you, 1 of the 3
Correct.
parts, which amounts to $1,650.
Correct. When we went into the agreement, I was supposed to be working on a big project. The big project I took on, and I developed the app on my own. I took it on my own as this is the big project, and he was happy with it.
What do you mean by you took it on your own? He didn't ask you for that?
Nah, he literally told me that I should work on a big project. Literally, he wasn't
It'll be
defining.
your turn in a second. And so, and no guidance about what the big project should be?
Still to this day.
What do you think?
it
Like, you're
wasn't-
living together, and he's not saying, hey, what are you doing? Like,
he doesn't communicate well. So, again.
neither do you. If neither one of you are, you're
I'm
living
willing-
in the
I'm
same
willing to
space. Are you
take-
sharing a kitchen?
I'm willing to take
Are you
that.
sharing a kitchen?
Yes.
You're sharing a kitchen. Do you talk?
I'm willing to accept that. However, I
It's
wasn't.
bizarre. What, according to you, what's going on? Because
Well-
I do see that you did, in fact, make payments of $1,650.
Well, like he said, he hit rock bottom, and he called me in a state of distress. His previous roommate was sleepwalking into his room, and he needed a place to stay, or he didn't need a place to stay. He said he was going back to Boston, and he can't take this anymore. He has to do this all over again. I said, listen, I have an extra bedroom I was running an Airbnb out of. It's a nice bedroom, fully furnished. You could come stay in my home for the summer and come up with something so you can make some money for yourself when you move out, so you don't have to go back home to Boston. That was my
Well,
only...
like, Boston's such a bad thing. Where are you from? What part of New York City are you from that you're both poo-pooing Boston like
Well,
this?
you know, he's in
What
New
part?
York. I'm
My
in Queens.
Boston viewers want to know. What part of New York
Queens,
City?
New
You're
York.
from
There you go,
Queens.
Park.
All right, so excuse me. I was born in Queens, and I'm here to tell you that Boston is really nice. You
It's
know?
not bad. It's not better than Queens, though. I gave him the space. He spent the whole summer not working on any big project. He spent this whole summer...
Did you mention anything to him?
I mentioned it several times.
What'd you
It's
say?
I said, listen, let's work on something. Not working on anything. He was DJing the whole summer, relaxing, no rent to pay. He's living in my home for free.
Well, that was your decision.
That's true. That was my decision.
Right.
And then I sat there and I gave him small projects. He'd make
Why
400
did you
here and
do
there.
all this, by the way?
Because I wanted to help him. He's a
No, it's not because you're a great humanitarian. He must have some talent that you found to be...
Absolutely, he has incredible talents that I was hoping he could realize and capitalize for
Okay,
himself.
so why don't you just give him the project that you want him to do instead of telling him, come up with something fabulous? You know, like...
Well, you know, that was the terms that I came up with for him. So
Come up
he
with
could get
something
on his feet,
fabulous? Okay.
Rather than going back home and going, you know,
What
away,
kind of
let's
business
say.
do you have?
Jewelry business.
Okay, and as I understand it, you're pretty successful.
I'm not bad. I'm doing okay.
You're doing okay for a boy from Queens.
Yeah.
Because I read some press about the people who buy your jewelry.
Yeah.
And you got some big names there.
Yeah, we work hard and we run a business. And when I get a chance to work with somebody, I will. If I have an extra room, I have no problem. I live by myself. I want to help somebody out. And that's
Okay.
the God's honest truth.
Okay, but then, so why did you not pay him the remaining $1,650?
Towards the end of the summer, he didn't accomplish anything to make money to get on his feet. I told him, you have until the end of the year, okay, until January 1st to do something.
Okay, but so he says he did. He came up with an app that your consumers could kind of, you know, it's really advertising.
Whatever it is that he said he was going to do.
Right, and so how did that go?
So I said, fine, if this is what it's going to take, here's $5,000 as a deposit, and I have a text message correspondence with him regarding that, if you'd like to see it.
No, I believe you.
Okay.
He says you paid him that.
Okay, I gave him $5,000 towards the end of the year. I didn't want this application.
Oh, yeah, then I do want to see it. What date was that?
December 20th.
Yeah, let me see your text. Actually, I prefer to see text inside the phone. Do you have it in the phone? 'Cause
Yes, I do.
I like to see what comes after and before.
Sure, absolutely.
I love text messaging. Say it, forget it, write it, regret it. I can move you up to 5K for the total when you pick it up.
And then another 5K when the app is launched and it's ready to go. But you got to give me some time for that because I don't even have an application. I never used it.
Please check, give me some time for the other 5K, at least some months. Okay, and that was in December. Please check your email for the logo, he says. I'm also in need of a written letter stating that the remaining 5K will be in my hands on whatever date. Very important for housing. And you say, okay. And he puts clappy hands, I think. I don't know, what are those hands?
Hands up.
Hands up.
Like-
Touchdown.
Touchdown. All right. Like,
So
all
at
right.
that point, the time.
Please bring that letter. Very important for me to do what I have to this weekend. So obviously he's getting out. All right. So basically you want me to look at these texts and glean what? Because what I gleaned was that you agreed to pay him the other 5K.
If, when the app is actually completed, it's exactly what I say at the launch of the application. Which
well,
I never
well,
even...
what's missing for the launch? Just you?
No, not just me. I don't know.
Literally.
Yeah, well, if his work is done, then it's just you don't feel like launching it. How do you get to save yourself 5K that you committed to paying?
Well, the fact of the matter is, his work is not done. I don't know what the application does. And to be quite honest with you, the whole point of the project was him to get some money to get out of my home.
So are you not wanting to pay him the
Your Honor,
remaining amount? I'm
I'll
sorry,
be
I'm in the
quite
middle
honest
of a
with
I'm
you.
in the middle of a question.
Yeah.
Are you not wanting to pay him the remaining amount because you guys got into a fight? Is that what it is? Because that's the only thing I can see that's different.
I didn't want to pay him the remaining amount because I don't have an application. And if I pay him, I'm going to be begging for this application, begging for its terms.
I'm sorry,
begging for its-
what is left for the application?
The application is actually done. I actually have billing statements from the third-party platform stating that he's still paying for the service to be rendered. So, again, it's up to him. If he wants to use the app, it's up to him. It's out of my
Have you
hands.
given him
I have.
passcodes or whatever
He
it
has
is?
passwords, he has all of that. Like, literally, he needed that to put a credit card down to make that payment. And all of that has been done.
Did he give you the password?
I don't have any password. I don't know what the
Did
app
he
even
give
does,
you
Your Honor.
the
No, I don't have.
password?
I
See,
don't
let me
have-
tell you what your answer to the complaint is filled with and what your testimony today is filled with. Things like,
Actually, that was a-
I don't have I don't know the password, so no. No, if he gave you the password, it's your fault you don't know the password. I didn't launch the app, so I don't have to pay 50% of what I agreed. Well, no, if you don't launch the app, it's on you
Your
that you
Honor,
didn't
I
launch
can't
the app.
launch an app. I don't have the means to do so.
Why
That's
not?
up to him. I don't know how to launch an app. He's coming up with an application. I don't even know what it does.
Well, why don't you find out?
All I wanted for him was to get
Well,
out of my home and have the money to
That's
get
very
out of it.
nice, but you can't pretend that you don't have an agreement with him. I did not create the situation. You did.
I did.
You wanted him not to go to Boston. You wanted to tap into his big brain. You thought this was a good deal for you, and now it turns out not to be. What did you think was going to happen when you come to court? And there's all kinds of evidence that you agree to pay a certain amount.
This is a conversation between me and him, so I could give him the money for something that he never completed, as far as I know. I don't have any application. I don't have a
statement?
launch.
All right, give him the password. You got the password on you?
I don't have it on me, but I will email it again.
Now, I have a question for you. When you give him the password, what happens next? Because you're the app guy, I'm not. What happens next?
Welcome back to the People's Court, Harvey Levin here. So can this dude say, well, we're square because you lived in my house for free?
No, he can't. That's not right. It's two different legal actions there. You know, he owes him some money, and he's living free in his house. He's still got to pay.
That sounds pretty compelling. What do you say?
I don't know, did he sign a contract?
No contract? About the house, for sure.
Well, I don't know. That's
Why don't you?
complicated.
I would go with what he's saying. What do you say?
So no?
I would say yes.
Yes?
Really?
I don't know.
Okay. Going inside the courtroom.
Literally, he has to
What?
just enter iPod or Apple information. So his.
Oh, is that too much for you?
his,
I mean,
What
his-
is that? What was that?
I don't-
Because that just makes me more suspicious of your testimony.
I don't-
Just stop and don't move.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
have any of his personal information with any Apple account that he has. So all he has to do is enter that information so it appears on the Apple Store and people are able to download
That's it.
That's
And then
it.
it's on the Apple Store. That's all he's got to
That's
do.
done.
That's what launch means. The
That's
last
it.
minutes, the last seconds before the launch are all in his possession.
That's it.
All he needs is the password from you.
Your
No,
Honor.
I already
Awesome.
gave it to him. I'll resend
No,
it.
you cannot. And what's this layaway? You're suing for a layaway on some jewelry?
Correct. During the whole $10,000 agreement, I assumed that I would be getting the money and I would be able to afford a piece of jewelry. I wore a pendant out of the showcase, returned it. It was damaged. I paid for the damage and paid for that actual pendant. I would like that back. I don't want that pendant.
But you don't get to back out of that. That's a contract too. I think what happened is this. I think that everything would have been fine if you had felt more gratitude. You felt like you were giving the guy a home for 6 months and that he kind of had a testy attitude. And I see it, but this is what you bought. That's the package you bought. You saw in him an edge and talent, and that's why you gave him a home for 6 months. And now you're complaining about it. You didn't give him a home to be your puppy. You gave him a home because you wanted him to do the work for you. And then you guys end up in this big tiff, and now nobody wants to pay him for contract. I'm a contracts person. Let me tell you what the contract was on the rent. Bupkis. That is your contract that you struck with him. Pay me nothing, because I want to keep you here. Okay, well, that was your deal, and you got your deal. All right? Then the contract on the other stuff is the remaining money. So, it's very simple, okay? If you tell somebody, if you do this, I'll pay you, and the person does it, you got to pay them. And I am ordering you to pay the remaining $1,650 upon your giving the password to him again.
Not a problem.
Okay? All right? That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff, in the end, does prevail. You understand? It's a contract.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I don't think this application will ever happen.
Let me ask you a question. You keep referring to what what is it for? Designed
It's
to
for
do?
him to get out of my house.
No, I know,
That's what
but I mean, it's an app. But what's it going to do? Do you
What's it-
know?
I have no
You
idea.
don't seem to know.
I don't know.
You don't have a clue what it does?
I invited a person in my home. Big mistake. Never do that if you're at home.
Well, look, you did that. You did
I
that
did.
on your own.
I
Okay.
did.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe you can tell me. Here comes Mr. Albert. Maybe you can tell me what the app is designed to do.
The app is actually to entertain his consumer. Play music, look at all the fancy jewelry he recently designed, all the videos he's uploading on YouTube. It all feeds into the app directly.
Is it like a catalog of jewelry he has for sale? Maybe.
That too.
Something
that
like
too.
that.
That too. It's actually like a newsletter, a blog, or a vlog.
See, he doesn't understand that. He doesn't know what it's for.
He wants to play ignorant. That's what happens.
Well, look, you won. Okay. You're living okay now?
I'm blessed.
You
blessed.
mentioned you were down and out in Havana. Did I hear that?
Nah, I went to Cuba and returned to no job. So now I'm back. I'm on my feet.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Very good. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, well, the plaintiff ended up giving the defendant the password, so the case is closed. End of story. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.